This is from the Marriage Advice subreddit. Resolving conflict when one partner isn't willing to talk. 2 weeks ago, my husband and I got in a fight. I am 8 weeks postpartum and also have a toddler, which truly, I'm in the trenches at the moment. The conflict, because he had been ignoring me completely since the baby arrived. He never spoke a word to me, and I would constantly try to talk to him. He would just nod, or sometimes not even that. I chalked it up to him being tired, although I co-sleep with the baby and toddler and stay up with the baby all night as I breastfeed and he sleeps in a separate room. But he has to wake up at 5 to take the baby for 3 hours so I can get some sleep. I was even more tired and sleep deprived, yet I still wanted to talk and spend time with my husband. He showed no interest in doing either, so I kept quiet instead of trying to talk to him as I usually do, as by this point I was tired of putting in all the effort. And he noticed and asked me what was wrong and why I wasn't talking to him properly, and I replied because he doesn't talk to me. He erupted. He called me names and cussed me out in front of our toddler and said some mean things like the fact that he hates me. Apparently, he had a performance review that day and it didn't go well. I wonder why. He was mad that I didn't ask him about it or wonder why he seemed so stressed. Okay, OP, your husband wasn't speaking to you. So he's mad at you for not knowing something because he chose not to speak to you? That's bullshit right there. That's manipulative behavior right there. Because whether he had a bad performance review at work or not that day, what about the 8 weeks since you've come home with the baby that he hasn't been speaking to you? What's the excuse for that? He's just blowing bullshit up your ass right there. This isn't about a performance review, although I would say with his piss poor attitude, I bet we can guess why he had a bad review. He cusses you out in front of the toddler and then uses work as the excuse for his bad behavior to make himself the victim by saying, but you didn't ask me about this. You did it, boo-hoo-hoo. Sir, you haven't spoken to your wife in 8 weeks. What was there for her to ask? He was mad that I didn't ask him about it or wonder why he seemed so stressed. He never once mentioned that he had a performance review coming up or any problems at work or in his life in general. As mentioned, he didn't share anything with me. So how was I supposed to know? But I kept quiet and listened to all he had to say. Later that night, I asked if he wanted to talk to resolve the issue, and he angrily replied that he didn't. So I told him, okay, I'll wait until you're ready to talk. Since then, he has been giving me the silent treatment and always is angry when I ask him anything. Okay, well, time out. So first and foremost, it is okay to take a pause when tempers are high. But there needs to be an explicit plan of when you are going to come back to have the conversation continue in a rational manner. It's not okay, we're just going to stop talking and ignore it, sweep it under the rug, any of that. No, that's not how you solve issues. You have to come back to address it, but it is okay to give it a time frame. Do not let it be more than 24 hours. Please do not let it be more than 24 hours. The longer you put in there, the more that misinterpretations and things that make somebody get in their head or question that has nothing to do with this, it's just their process. All those things are going to make it worse. So you want to have the time as short as possible between when you take the break and when you pick back up. Back to the story. Since then, he's been giving me the silent treatment and is always angry when I ask him anything. I've been trying to talk normally. The following night, I apologized over text for not knowing it was his performance review, and had I known, I wouldn't have brought it up that day. Oh, hell no, OP. You do not apologize to him for his bad behavior or for the fact that you did not have information. He's expecting you to know something he never told you and then give him empathy over it? Fuck that. That's not how this works. Do you live in his brain? Can you hear his thoughts? Don't you dare apologize for something you didn't know about. That's on him. Do not take the responsibility off of his shoulders like he has tried to do to you. The following night, I apologized over text for not knowing that it was his performance review. Had I known, I wouldn't have brought it up that day. He didn't reply to the message. And today, 2 weeks later, I asked him again if he wanted to talk. And he said no and walked away. He is still giving me the silent treatment. Whereas I'm trying my best to talk to him all the time. I didn't say anything to him the day that he was calling me out of my name, calling me a bitch, see you next Tuesday, and whatnot. Mainly because I was too stunned and heartbroken to speak. Yet I, for some reason, am being punished. How do we resolve this? OP, here's what I'm going to tell you. You cannot resolve a situation when only one party involved is willing to do anything. There is no way to resolve this situation because your husband is acting like a toddler. Okay? He's literally acting like a 2-year-old. So you got basically the silent treatment for 8 weeks after coming home with your newborn. Very little help, and he doesn't want to have any communication with you at all. When you bring it up, you get called out of your name. Hello, verbal abuse. Okay? He does it in front of your toddler and then goes back to not speaking to you. You end up having to text him after apologizing to him for something that was not your fault. And he then gave you the silent treatment for 2 more weeks. He has told you quite clearly with his actions, he does not like you. He does not like any little bit about you. And apparently his kids either, since he doesn't want anything to do with y'all. He has checked out. Quit begging him to stay. Quit begging him to do anything. It is time for you to stand up, and as hard as it's going to be, reach out to family members and such. You need to start making other arrangements because your husband has no interest in being your husband or a father. You have a ghostly roommate in your home, and he's treating you like an asshole. Why would you subject yourself to that? You deserve better. Go get it.